Okay, so we're gonna drape the bust cups first. And one thing that I want to explain is that you guys are not going to pay attention to this because I'm seeing that you're not really paying so much attention when you're actually making a flat, is that we need to have a design that is as faithful as your original design. So a sweetheart line, neckline is not just a line. They can be sweethearts more straight, they can be sweethearts more shallow, they can be, and that's what it makes your design different. So when I say that putting the tape can take you longer than draping the whole outfit, believe me, it can happen, okay? Because we want to make sure that we have that, making something a couple of inches longer and shorter can make it into looking like my grandmother and looking something hip from now, right? And that's all in the proportion. So you have to pay attention. That's why I ask you guys to have your drawing next to you and not on your phone, that it turns off and it's in a picture, that you need to have microscopes, and some people need glasses, right? So if you have it right next to you, you can actually see your drawing and try to imitate your design the same way. So if you are using the princess seams, you do not use tape on it, okay? Because you already have perfect seams here that you can feel, right? But if your seams are, for example, they go through the bust and they turn, then you can put the tape from where it turns and you can create your design. Like for example, Peter, you have several lines. You're gonna do all of those lines. The ones that land exactly where the seam is, you don't. But all of the other ones, you need to make every single one of them. And you need to make the top and you need to make the bottom. So I am going to explain next class. I keep saying next week, but it's not next week, okay? I'm gonna explain next class how to drape it below the waist, even though some of you guys have done it to the natural waist. I'm gonna do it below the waist because it's a little bit more advanced, and I want you guys to at least experience it and watch it, okay? And I think that every one of your designs have been symmetric, right? So we're gonna do only half of the body, okay? I always work with, remember, we're doing it as we're wearing it, the left of the body. I'm just used to it. It doesn't matter. You guys do whatever you want. So when you create the neckline or the bottom of the bustier, you don't draw a line for the, I call it draw because actually with the tape you're drawing. You don't draw a line in the front and then you draw on the back, because the front and the back are not separated. The front continues into the back. So we're gonna use the same piece of tape going through the front, continuing all the way up to the center back, okay? I'm gonna make up a design, okay? And I'm gonna show you how it's done, and you guys are gonna look at me and say like, oh, very easy, okay? I make it look very easy, I promise you. I try to not do that, but I've been doing it for so long, since I was 2 months old. Every time I talk about age, you all laugh. It's like the biggest joke. Anyway, and I'm gonna try to put the least amount of pins as possible. And why do I do that? Because every time you put a pin, you break the line. Instead of having a smooth line, it's gonna be stopped in there. Unless that's actually the design that you guys want to do, right? But I don't think we do. And we're gonna do just the bust cup today. I'm going to redraw it next class, and I'm going to do top and bottom, and I'm gonna use that bust cup on the dress form before I actually drape the rest of the bodies, because the bust cut is gonna add padding to the breast, right? And I need to have that padding on it before I drape it again, okay? Otherwise, if you put it on, either it's not gonna close or you're gonna have over spillage, right? So since I'm doing a asymmetric. I'm going to start with the center front, okay? And I'm going to show you how many pins I actually place on it. I always try to do my tape as all one single line. Instead of doing this, then your lines are not even, right? I try to have a line that goes all the way down with the shape. So see how nice and rounded I created that line? Yeah. Okay, I'm not telling you that it's that easy, okay? So that's why I'm saying that it will take time. You need to move because you actually can't see what I'm doing. But maybe behind Susan or that way you're not behind it. Now I'm gonna do a corner right here, and that's why I do need to have a pin. Okay? So, I don't know what, oh, my phone is there. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it here. By the way, if you guys tape this, don't leave your tape more than a week if you own one of these, because the glue is going to be permanently into your dress form. And you wanna be able to make other things. So be careful when you use pencil, don't use pen. Nothing that will mark it permanently so you can't use it again, okay? Now, you guys remember when we were draping, I told you that we needed to be 1 inch below the plate? Well, we can go below that, okay? Just be careful, don't get side boob, unless you wanna do that on purpose, okay? But I'm gonna go to my center back, even though today I'm gonna drape only the, what's it called?
The bust cup.
The bust cup, right. See, most of these dress forms have a nail right here. That is the exact same level as your bust point, okay? So if you guys are using zippers, don't do it any lower than that if you're going down to the waist, because they don't have any zippers shorter than 5 inches, okay? Now, zippers for bustiers that are separating like a jacket, okay? Now, we can't have our neckline too low in the front, okay? Because if you have your neckline too low in the front, it's basically like putting on a bra without hooking it in the back, okay? You know what happens. This is almost like you're wearing a mask, right? So when we breathe in, this is actually standing away from you, okay? So let's try to keep it around here. It's the first bustier you guys, or corset that you do. Make your life easy. Later you can complicate yourself, and then you can extend it and you can change it. But for this is just a learning opportunity. Let's make our life easy and not too complicated just because you wanted to have a design. Who cares about the design? You're learning technique. You're gonna do amazing other things afterwards, and you're gonna defy gravity like Ariana Grande. I don't know what she thinks. I mean, she weighs nothing, so obviously she defies gravity, right? But anyway, so I'm gonna continue my tape, and I'm gonna go my neckline. I want a point here, so I want to keep my pin there, and see how I'm actually moving, because it would tend to create bubbles. I want this line to look like she has cellulite, right?
Okay.
And then I'm going to continue into the center back. Pretty? So don't be surprised when I ask you to do this. Walk away, or look, Katerina has flies, right? The reason why I do that, not that she has, or maybe she hasn't, I don't know. I haven't seen the population on her hair. But anyway, but the reason for that is because what happens when your computers freeze? You turn it off and you turn it back on, correct? Oh, don't worry about it. We'll put it again.
How do you know if it's straight when you're putting it like...
And this is what I'm trying to explain, okay? What happens when your computer freezes? You turn it off and you turn it back on, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not expecting you to turn your head around or shake it or anything like that. But if you distract yourself and you walk back again, you look at things with fresh eyes, and you can really notice that there are things on it that you haven't noticed before. Okay? So don't be surprised that I'm going to say, look, Sarah just fell and broke her knee. And he says, like, where? Oh, no, I'm sorry. The other Sarah, right? And it's just to distract you so you can pay attention to it with fresh eyes. I wasn't talking about you. Okay. You're not the only Sarah in the world.
Basically, I am.
I said world.
you
I didn't
guys.
say in this room.
I'm not humble.
You're not humble?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay. All right. So, you see, for example, I did this a little bit on purpose. You guys notice that this dips really bit a lot, and then it goes straight? So you can't do this and then go down, because again, you're doing the same thing as having a low neckline.
Yeah.
If you have a bikini, you guys have bikinis? Right? You tie it under your bust, and then you tie it on your neck, right?
Yes.
Well, what happens if you don't tie it on your neck?
It's fair.
Poing, right? You like my sound effect?
Yes.
Okay. That's exactly what happens here. If you don't have the tension on the side, it's not going to give you the hold of your body. You guys, we are going to pretend that we know what we're talking about. But ladies, you have bras. Whether you wear them or not, don't tell me. But you know that the cups are on the front, and you have a little band that goes from the front into the back. That is what it gives you the support to be able to hold the cup on the front. If you had just a string on the bottom, this is just like putting a teacup on top of it. So it's going to be moving, right? So that's what we need to understand, the physics on how it's going to hold it. Does that make sense? But I'm not worrying so much. And what I'm doing today is